Happy Friday, everyone. We'll get started here in just a few minutes as we get some more people coming in.
Hey, Leslie, do you mind if I try to share screen real quick just to
Oh, yeah, let's test it out.
Yeah. I always feel a little better can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like we're
Okay.
good.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, we'll get started here in just another minute or so. Good to see everybody here. For the sake of everyone's time, I think we'll get started. So, welcome to our KC Coalition for Digital Inclusion meeting. We always start with our mission and vision. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Leslie Scott. I'm the Digital Inclusion Program Manager at KC Digital Drive. So our vision is every citizen and household in the KC metropolitan area has access to the internet, the equipment needed to use it, and the skills needed to take advantage. And then our mission is to facilitate collaboration among organizations and initiatives working to bridge the digital divide in order to maximize the resources for greatest impact. So you can follow us, and I'm not sure how active we are on Twitter since Rick Usher stopped attending the meetings, but you can also find us on YouTube, and I'm also realizing that I need to. Leah, are you able to record? Fantastic. Thank you. All right, so if you are not currently a member, it's free and you can fill out the form on the website, and it's just really simple, doesn't commit you to a lot of things. We'd love to have you join us. So with that, I'm going to ask, are there any new attendees at today's meeting?
Yes, I'm Sean Pendley with Johnson County.
All right, we'll meet all our Johnson County friends here in a sec. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm also new. Connor and I am with Net Neutrality Data Centers. We own and operate the facility at 1102 Grand in downtown Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
But I was previously at Google Fiber, and I believe they were involved with this organization. So that was how I heard of you guys.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Leslie, we're also new. So Matt and I are with Mission Telecom. We are a nonprofit wireless broadband provider. So we work to close the digital divide. And I'm really
Yeah, we're going to hear from you in a minute.
excited. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, well, moving on. So this is our agenda. I think everybody got it earlier. We're probably going to move a few things around just to accommodate some schedules. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off, Shake, and then we are going to then hear from the Kansas Office of Broadband Development so that Bill can get on to his meeting, and then also a brief update on the Digital Ambassadors Program because Rebecca also has an 11 o'clock, so we're going to squeeze some things in here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So Shake, you can go ahead and share yours.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Leslie, and thank you so much, KC Digital Drive, for inviting us and allowing us to join. My name is Sheikh. I am with Mission Telecom. We are a nonprofit wireless broadband provider. I also have Matt with me on the call. He is my senior manager. So if you guys have any questions, we'd be more than happy to tackle those together for you. So we work towards closing the digital divide. We have a very unique story, so I'm just going to take you through that. So how we came about, what we do, who we serve, a little bit about our current partners, and then the partnership models we have in place. So we started back in the 1980s. In 1983, we were a educational TV and radio broadcasting foundation. Back then, FCC was allowing foundations that were in educational TV to apply for licenses in the 2.5 gigahertz spectrum across multiple cities in the US. Our founder back then decided to apply for them for different cities, and we ended up getting a whole bunch of them. So we continued in that arena in television for a little bit, educational TV for a little bit. Then in 2004, FCC came around and changed the ruling because educational TV wasn't using the spectrum as broadly. So it allowed us to be able to use that spectrum for providing broadband access across the US. So in 2006, Clearwire, a company, was formed that started to aggregate all the independent spectrum owners to be able to form a nationwide network. And when that happened, we've had about 29% of all the licenses that they approved. So as a result, we got a really once-in-a-lifetime deal with them. Fast forward to 2013, Sprint acquires Clearwire, and then in 2018, T-Mobile acquires Sprint and their entire spectrum license and everything else. So right now, our current partnership is with T-Mobile. They still honor the same contract we had before. So in exchange of being able to lease our licenses to have their nationwide 5G network, they give us the ability to launch lines of services on their network nationwide. We have only one rate plan. It's the unlimited plan with absolutely no cap on the data, and it works on the highest priority level. So I say that, but I also have to add that if there are first responders deployed in the area, they will always be the highest priority, and we're right below them, which means our services has no buffering at all. So it never slows down. There's no throttling. So they allow us to launch lines of services, but they also give us cash royalties. So our foundation has two separate sides to it. We have the broadband services, where we provide the services at affordable rates. And then we have a social impact and philanthropy. So we have a grant-making side that uses the cash royalties and any surplus from the broadband side to be able to fund projects in multiracial democracy, movement infrastructure, and telecom justice. We are fairly new, so we are kind of a nonprofit startup. We just started last year in July. So we are fairly new in this arena to be able to close this gap for everyone. So what do we do? As part of our agreement with T-Mobile, we do not directly service households or businesses, so we don't go directly to end users. So in that sense, we're not really an ISP in the traditional sense. But what we do is we can partner with educational institutions, so schools, colleges, universities, with libraries, nonprofits, social welfare organizations, quasi-government foundations, so healthcare or education, parks and recs, we can partner with them to be able to provide them with the services we have. We sell our licensed services, and we also donate them depending on the project that we are assisting with. So what we offer, obviously the most common one are the mobile hotspots, the jetpacks. We can definitely power those. Connected devices like laptops, your iPads, any kind of tablets that's compatible with T-Mobile services. We can connect those as well. Fixed wireless access is probably the biggest thing right now in terms of providing internet for homes and offices. So that's also something we provide. We provide account management, so for our partners to be able to connect, disconnect, suspend lines of services, add filters, provide reports, we can do those things. And BYOD, bring your own devices. So a lot of businesses already have existing devices, so rather than having to invest and get more new devices, as long as they're compatible with ours, we can just turn those on. And that also goes back to the libraries and schools who during COVID had a lot of hotspots, and then that ended when the COVID funding ended. We're able to go back and activate those as well if they're compatible with T-Mobile. These are some of our partners. So Free Gig, Project Waves. Project Waves is one of the partners that take our lines of services from us and then repurpose them and provide them to their users and their foundations and communities. So they're like a reseller in a way. So they take our services, add on a delta to cover their operational costs and for sustainability, and then provides the service to their communities. ComputeOpt is probably one of the biggest partners we have. They refurbish devices, so they collect laptops and desktops from different companies and foundations, refurbish them, and then redistribute them among underserved and unserved communities. They're based out of Houston, but they are active in 25 different states. When they provide these, when they donate these devices to the families, they pair it with our service for 2 years. That way they're solving for the device and the connectivity at the same time for the 2 years that their communities have them. Lutheran Services is one of our first clients. They had their New America program. We were their day one partners to be able to provide the connectivity for the families that the refugee families that they were bringing in and into their fold. Obviously under a lot of pressure from the current administration. So we are actually partnering with them with donated lines to be able to keep their program going and their operations going while they figure out how they want to pivot moving forward. Just wanted to highlight those. Just moving into the types of partnership models we have right now. We have 3 different ones. We have direct partnerships with something like ComputeOpt. So they just purchase our lines of services and provide it to their users, to their communities. Reseller partnership would be, again, something like Project Waves. They get it at a lower price, then add on a delta and then provide it to their communities. And we also have referral partner models where we will partner with somebody that may have someone in their purview that needs hotspot or any of those services that we provide, and they refer us by setting up a warm meeting. We take it from there. If we are able to sign them on as a new partner, 10% of the service revenue for the first 12 months goes directly to that partner that referred them to us. In my entire presentation, I didn't talk about price because as a nonprofit, we operate at operational cost. That means we have a ceiling of how much we charge. So $20 for the plan we offer. We just have the one plan, which is the unlimited plan at the highest priority level. But depending on your project, your budgetary constraints, the scope of the project, we do come down from there to whatever works best to be able to get this product out to everybody. At the end of the day, we're here to do good, and that's what we rely on. And so we have a lot of partners that will come to us and say, hey, we're working on this project, but this is the price point. Can you meet us there? And 9.5 out of 10 times we'd be able to say yes, because we are pretty small. And we're able to be very agile in that sense. When we set up Mission Telecom, we were very conscious about what we wanted to do. So everybody in our team has past wireless experience. So between us, we have about 240 years of wireless experience. So be it product information, customer service, user experience, we are very, very keen to be able to make that difference. So I'm going to stop here and stop sharing, see if there are any questions, and see what takeaways you guys have.
Jake, do you have your contact information that you could drop in the chat for anybody who wants to follow up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to drop mine, and Matt can probably also drop his as well. So that way we have that out there too for you guys.
Okay, sounds good. I think we're on a pretty tight schedule today, so if you do have questions for the Mission Telecom folks, it would be great if you could go ahead and follow up with them directly. And then if for some reason you need to be connected, we're happy to do that as well. But you should get the contact info in the chat here shortly. And so for now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our Kansas Office of Broadband Development folks. So, Bill, welcome to the Broadband Office.
Thanks so much. As you know, I'm the new director of the Broadband Office here in Kansas. I wanted to give you guys a thank you for all the work you're doing and your partnership in closing the digital divide. Just an update, on May 9th, 2025, the Kansas Office of Broadband Development received a termination notice from the Trump administration for the Digital Equity Capacity Grant Program. The Digital Opportunity to Connect Kansas, DOC, and the Advancing Digital Opportunities to Promote Technology, ADOPT programs are not affected by this termination and will continue as scheduled. DOC 2.0 award announcements will be made this month, and the ADOPT 2 award announcements will be made later this summer. Please stay connected with our office and email Morgan if you would like to be added to the newsletter. She'll drop her email in the chat. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Bill. We are all sorry about this development, but appreciate that you all were able to get that other funding that is providing that critical support for our programs that we're working on out here in the ecosystem. So thank you for being here. We really know it's not easy work, and we appreciate all that your staff is doing to help to bridge the digital divide in Kansas. All right, so with that, I'm going to just give a brief update on the Digital Ambassadors Program. So this was a program that we recruited some either current or recently graduated college students to serve as digital ambassadors for some of our partner organizations in the ecosystem, and it's been really amazing. Lots of great feedback and outcomes have been happening I think on both sides of the equation. We had an ambassador at Journey to New Life, Literacy KC, Phoenix Family, Latinx Collaborative, and who am I? Literacy KC. Did I say that already? Anyway, five organizations. Literacy KC couldn't be here, but they did send something that they wanted to share, a workforce partnership. Thank you, Leah. And so their comments were that it's been a great asset to Literacy KC. Not only has Yadira assisted in classes, she's also begun teaching her own Canva Essentials course. This course was set to run for 4 weeks, but because of interest from students, it's continuing through May. So, this was a pilot program, and we hope to continue it, but I wanted to hear from Rebecca Canales with Phoenix Family, just briefly talk about how it's worked for you all.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. We have been having just a wonderful time with Angie. She's our digital ambassador. And so the way Phoenix Family works, we offer social service supports in affordable housing communities throughout Kansas City. So she's in one of our senior communities. And at that particular community, we have pretty low computer skills and low comfort with computers. And so Angie's been there a couple days a week, and she has open hours. And then she's also offered some classes where she's able to talk to people about how to use Facebook, how to apply for jobs. She's helped someone apply for a job and they ended up getting that position. So that was really exciting. Also helped someone work on starting a DJ business, and he got a DJ gig. And so that was really exciting for him as well. But just some fun stuff too, ways to stay connected to their family, whatever kind of help folks need. And she's just been so patient and so wonderful. And then she also helped train a volunteer who is going to take over for her after she leaves. So that's been wonderful to me through a couple of partnerships, one of them with KC Digital Drive. We've been able to set up computer labs in several of our communities recently. And so that's been a lot of training with the volunteers. So she really helped increase our capacity to make sure that they have help. It's been a short-term program, but they have help moving forward because she's done a wonderful job training that volunteer. So we're just really grateful for this program, and it's been wonderful for Phoenix Family.
Yeah, and those computer labs came from the Digital Inclusion Fund?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really great.
Yes. Fantastic. All right. I don't know. I think we thought somebody from LEC was going to be here, but I don't think that they are. Anybody from LEC here? No. I can't believe I forgot Workforce Partnership because Keely Schneider mentioned that they really got such great support from their ambassador that they went ahead and applied for the American Connection Corps program to get a full-time ACC member. So that's how it's worked for them. So really grateful to our hosts sites who are taking on the digital ambassador and helping them be successful in their role. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Hyunjin Seo with the KU Center for Digital Inclusion at the William Allen White School of Journalism and Mass Communications, where I got my first graduate degree, Rock Chalk.
Yes.
And so, Hyunjin, please take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Hyunjin Seo. I'm professor and director of the Center for Digital Inclusion at KU. I believe some of you are familiar with our center activities, but I want to begin with a very brief overview of what we do and then discuss how we incorporate AI-related topics into our education program designed for underserved populations in Kansas and Missouri. So our center really is designed to facilitate scholarship, education, and collaborative partnerships to enhance citizens' digital access and skills, especially underserved and marginalized populations. We work with them so that they are more fully and productively able to engage in social, economic, and civic and cultural activities. We have worked with low-income older adults, refugees who recently arrived in Kansas City area, and also justice-impacted communities. So this is, at this point, working with women who are currently incarcerated or formerly incarcerated is the main focus is our program. And this program has been funded by NSF, Kauffman Foundation, and also Kansas Department of Commerce DOC Grant and National Endowment for the Arts, Kansas Health Foundation, and Google Fiverr. So the education program, including AI topics that I discussed today, focuses on really the information literacy and digital skills training for justice-impacted women. As I mentioned again, women who are about to be released from jail, prison, or women who have been recently released from jail or prison. And the important aspect that I want to kind of emphasize, we have three main areas. So this is we intentionally did a lot of research to kind of develop sustainable and scalable ways of supporting justice-impacted women in their re-entry to this increasingly digital society. So, of course, a lot of digital content education that we provide and we develop in collaboration with justice-impacted women revolve around employment opportunities, career readiness, employment. Those are really kind of important focus of our program. And there are three related aspects here: community-based research, evidence-based education, and trust-based community partnership. In terms of research, we conduct focus groups, interviews and surveys, collecting data before, during, and after our participants' engagement with the program so that we can better understand the effects of education on their technology learning and also self-efficacy. And also, in the long term, we are examining the effects of technology education on employment and recidivism. And based on this empirical research, we have developed our educational content. We have currently 13 educational phases, including, introductory topics to coding and professional development and business communication. And our community partners are essential in our work. We work closely with public libraries, workforce centers, and departments of corrections and other nonprofit organizations supporting returning citizens. So, based on our research, we utilize this interest-based learning framework. So that is, our research help us understand our participant interest and need in learning about technology. The AI topic that I will discuss later are related to this research, because through this research, we were able to identify that our participants are very much interested in learning about AI as well. So we have a participatory design approach where, again, our community partners and program participants actively participate in creating, improving the curriculum. We constantly revise our curriculum, and that's why we recently added AI-related topics. So, and also, our participants can choose, of the 13 phases, they can choose specific phase that they want to work on. If they are already familiar with particular areas, they can skip some phases and they can move on to more advanced levels. So our stackable certificate program really motivates our participants to advance through phases based on their interests and needs in learning about technology. So topics covered in our program include information privacy, Microsoft Office programs, Google program, resume building, website, digital content creation, computational thinking skills, coding skills, business communication. And these topics are determined based on empirical research, as well as close collaboration with community organizations and also our program participants. This is a screenshot of our online learning management site. Our primary focus in designing the learning management site was to support our participants in reaching their respective learning outcomes. We are very specific about what they can expect to learn from particular phase, and we also assess their learning through each phase. And in addition to these online modules and online interactions with participants, our program participants have opportunities to interact directly in person through our office hours at public libraries. And currently, we are offering our programming in county jails, and these are offered in person, but still we utilize these online modules because we want our participants become familiar with different digital environments. So, as I mentioned, increasing our participants ask about what is AI, what do they need to know about it, and why do they need to know about it, right? So because they read so much about it in the news and so on. So in addition, as project team, we have always strived to update our educational content to make them timely and relevant. So we have recently added modules on artificial intelligence, and some of the educational focus is on AI and misinformation, because that is an important topic as AI is increasingly incorporated in information ecosystem. So in thinking about this, and again, based on our interviews. We do intake interviews and exit interviews with our participants, as well as regular surveys with our program participants. And when people say AI means many different things. So in developing AI-related modules, we realize it's important that we need to be clear about what we mean by AI. So when we discuss implications of AI, we can have a common reference point. So these days, when people talk about AI, such as ChatGPT, we're talking about generative AI, right? Generative AI is a type of AI that helps create new content, text, image, audio, code by learning from existing data. While traditional AI focuses more on analyzing existing data to make predictions. So some people say AI is just a large language model, but AI is more broader than that. So what we try to do is try to help them understand underlying context. And this is the case for whatever technology aspects that we discuss in our phases. So I think it is important to, for us, what we do is try to help them understand bigger picture about technology changes. And that can really help them to be more motivated and better able to learn relevant skills. And oftentimes they're surprised, oh, okay, so this was based on AI, I didn't realize. So try to help them how this information ecosystem has changed and evolved increasingly with the incorporation of AI technologies. And also it is important that our participants learn that they are able to utilize AI applications and tools through their assignments. We have exercises and assignments that our participants complete as part of their education program. In doing so, we emphasize the ethical use of AI. So if they use AI for their assignments, they are asked to disclose, but again, intentionally, we ask them to use AI for some specific assignments. And so we have lengthy discussion about in what instances AI can be effective, in what specific cases you probably don't want to use AI, and how you can effectively disclose your use of AI in your writing and creation of content. And really kind of nurturing self-efficacy in learning about AI, because we hear from our participants and also general public, the Pew Research Center reports show as well that people are scared of AI, right? As much as some people are excited and about the opportunities, but we have a lot of concerns about non-ethical or malicious use of AI. So we try to help them understand that AI is broadly already incorporated in digital tools, and it is important that for them to be able to understand how that works, and again, the ethical aspects. So, but also we really kind of empathize with a lot of anxiety people have regarding AI, particularly in the younger generation. They have existential anxiety about AI, about job replacement, and like a climate change. They have a lot of anxiety about AI as well. So some of our participants too, because we have participants who are not necessarily familiar with technology. So we try to kind of demonstrate empathy and active learning so that they don't feel that they're judged or disrespected in navigating or asking questions related to AI. So what I mentioned earlier that AI and misinformation is a key part of our learning, and we do have a lot of lessons on online information assessment, because there is so much misinformation out there. And when you are recently released from jail, these tools are so complicated, and if you see on Google, maybe it looks accurate, but it is not. So we have a lot of modules on online information assessment, but we have recently added more content on AI and misinformation. So for example, the images of devastation left by Hurricane Helene last year really started to spread online, and an image of this crying baby holding a puppy on a boat was widely circulated. And some of posts on X showing this image received millions of views, and some news media organizations actually even used this image. So it prompted a lot of emotional responses from many users. But this was AI-generated image, and others quickly noticed the clear indicators that the image was likely created using generative AI, and it's verified. For example, you can see the distorted limbs and blurry areas, which are kind of characteristic of some image generators, and the image itself is kind of highly suspicious. The skin on the girl's face and arms look extremely smooth, with some exaggerated lines above her eyebrows. And additionally, the orange life jacket in the background, the man in the orange jacket in the background appears to have a missing limb. So, and a similar image of the same girl on X, taken from different angle, shows that she has a different dog in her arms and wearing a different life jacket. So this image was debunked as a fake, but already millions of people shared the image. And again, as I mentioned, some news organizations use the image as well. Many examples. I can have really long lecture on the fake and AI-generated images that created during crisis communication situation. This as news spread of fast-growing fires in Los Angeles earlier this year, these fake images like this magnify the terror, anxiety, and so on. So what we try to really kind of emphasize, given this increasingly widespread AI-generated images and other types of fake images and text, we incorporate in our modules discussion and practical training on assessing information quality in the age of AI, and kind of we discuss who is spreading this type of content, why are they spreading it, and what kind of tools they can use to assess the quality of information, and so on. And probably some of you are familiar with SIFT model. This is before AI, that when we talked about online information assessment, and we talked a lot about this SIFT model that is an evaluation strategy developed by digital literacy experts to help determine whether online content can be trusted for credible or reliable sources of information. So we have this framework, but really kind of getting deeper into AI-generated content. So in our modules, we have lessons on AI-generated text, AI-generated image, AI-generated voice, and how they can detect or make informed decisions about the information that they encounter online. So for example, in terms of detecting AI-generated text, we help them understand fluency, frequency, and patterns in the text. They can provide some cues as to the content creators, particularly AI content creators. And also visuals. So visuals generate emotional reactions, and which can be really impactful. So this is an important area as well. So in detecting AI-generated visuals, we discuss anomalies in lighting and shadows, kind of some artifacts and distortions, lack of background consistency that are characteristic of AI-generated images. And we also have exercises on using reverse image search and other also we intentionally encourage them to use some AI-generated tools like Soras for assignment, so that they understand how AI tools can be used to generate visual images as well. So these are some examples, right? So the two pizza photos, the one with the basil on top is an AI-generated image. As you can see, the lines are overly perfect and smooth, and you can see these patterns in AI-generated images, and really on some moving images as well, that these are this video is AI generated content as well, but also voice.
I'd like to close out today's ceremony with a question. If you were given a choice, would you choose to have unlimited bacon but no more video games? Or would you rather have games, unlimited games, and no games? It's a tough question, but think about it.
So this former President Biden lacked of voice, AI generated fake voices, and we really kind of tell participants that even if you have voice message from your family members, friends, they sound familiar, verify, because these days it is easy for people to kind of fake voices as well. So we encourage our participants to think critically and ask these questions, and really we are continuing to improve and expand our modules in this area. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much, Hyunjin. I know you have to go here in a minute, but I did want to give a few minutes for questions if people have any. Big topic, and lots to think about here. Anybody have any questions? You just come off mute and ask.
Got a question. Just thank you. Like, this is amazing work. And even in our field, we encounter AI more often than we would expect. So like I mentioned in the messages, like AI is being used now, for instance, to do job interviews. And for us to if we are not informed, then it would be very difficult for us to be able to navigate the situations. And AI is also being used for so many things, like the one you mentioned in terms of voice. It's being used to scam our older populations as well. It makes them think that their loved ones are in trouble, and then they just fall victim to that scam and the crime. So thank you. This is amazing work. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your comment. Yes, so I think that I teach these topics for undergraduate students as well, and they are having difficulty to and think about the populations who are not really familiar with technology anyway, right? And then being exposed to these types of manipulated content. So this is a really, I think, that a big issue, and we'll try to kind of help our participants understand some key issues related to this. Yeah, thank you all. Yeah.
Thanks so much. We appreciate you squeezing this in your busy day. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, so I wanted to just turn us back over to our broadband offices for a second. JR, do you want to give a quick update from the Missouri side?
Yeah, happy to have, well, I don't know, happy to do so is the right word this week, but I am here to do so. Can you all hear me? So this will be a very brief update, but I am JR. I work at the Missouri Office of Broadband Development. And so honestly, just keeping in line with the only information that we have from our federal partners, we have indefinitely suspended all of our digital opportunity programming. Just this past week, we informed all of our previously tentatively selected subgrantees of this update. We are announcing it as, like I said, an indefinite suspension, just because of the uncertainty at the federal level. If and when the program does officially close, we will let everyone know that. But at this time, we are proceeding as if funds provided for our digital opportunity program will not be received. There's still, of course, hope that we can do different types of programming with non-deployment funds, but please don't take anything I'm saying now as a commitment to do so. We will, we will work within the law to the extent that we can, but we are bound by it, and we will do nothing to contradict it, I should say.
JR, can you explain what non-deployment funds are?
Yep. So in the BEAD legislation, once we have accomplished the primary goals, once we have connected all the households that are feasible with, the standards, the regulations of the program, currently under statute, we have permission to redirect those funds to help accomplish, purposes that are unrelated to infrastructure. Hence why we call it non-deployment, right? Deployment being the laying out of infrastructure for broadband connectivity. I think there's a decent chance that we have substantial funds left. We don't necessarily want to put a number to that, but for reference, I believe Louisiana had $500 million left over. So, like I said, it would certainly be substantial. Those, let me tell you now that even if we get those funds, no one's giving me $500 million. I'd love to, but it's not coming to me. But we could certainly do some things with a bit of that if we're allowed to.
And this might be something that you're not able to touch on, but if there's no DEA and you were the digital opportunities staff person, what does that mean for your position?
I am very fortunate in the sense that I am allowed to touch quite a few programs at the office. I have received no indications that they are letting me go. I certainly go ask my boss every day. And so I don't, like I said, I would hope that they would tell me, but I have received no signals indicating that I'll be going anywhere.
And then this is not your wheelhouse, but BEAD is also currently in review as well, which is the infrastructure program. Do you have any, I mean, that didn't sound like there was much certainty in the timeline, I guess I'll use the word, but they were thinking that they were going to potentially release updated guidance in like June or July. Is that what you all are hearing as well?
I would say, and again, like I've been saying, take a lot of this with caution. We have heard rumblings that something would come out today, but no one on my side is optimistic about that. So
Okay.
take of that statement what you will.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, also, just hope that that the BEAD program continues to roll on. I know you all are continuing your work in that, and if you would be willing to put in your contact info in the chat, and then also the link where they can find the place to sign up for the stakeholder meetings that you all host, that would be amazing, because I think you all really cover a lot in those stakeholder meetings. And even though the digital skills side of things is what most of us are focused on, if you don't have internet at home, there's not, like, you could learn all the skills you want, but if you don't have it at home, it really hinders your ability to leverage it. So also interested in seeing that roll out, as well as the potential for those non-deployment funds, which could be great, considering that DEA looks, as you said, indefinitely suspended. So
Hey,
all right.
Leslie,
Yes,
can I ask a question of JR? Is okay?
absolutely. Of
Okay.
course.
Hey, JR, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Mr.
Good,
Yancey. How are
good,
you?
good. So those non-deployment funds, hypothetically, not committing you or your office to anything, just a
Mhm.
general discussion, general question. So let's say you had, some non-deployable funds become available. Now, would you redirect those funds to the clients that you have, positioned, or they were positioned to win the digital equity, or would you start all over again in terms of a RFP?
So thank you for the question. I think it's excellent. It's a little hard to plan because we don't yet know how much funding we'll have left, right? That's all dependent on the completion of BEAD projects. I think we are discussing the possibility of backfilling if we can, but we certainly can't make that commitment. And then, as I said, right, I think even if we do have, say we complete the BEAD deployment and we do have excess funds for these purposes, I can tell you right now, all of that will not come to my program for management. There are certainly major needs across the state, and I think you could very much understand why, if someone were to see $300 million coming to the state, they would want to fill some of those, pretty major needs. I think everyone on this call is well aware of the need to bridge the digital divide and promote digital opportunities for everyone. But, we have to recognize, in the greater context of the whole state, we have to serve, all of the constituencies in need.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
So JR, am I understanding correctly that the non-deployment funds can go to anything? Like
Ooh,
other,
That's what
I
I heard,
definitely don't
Leslie,
think
but I
it.
didn't want to say it. Thank you for saying what I was thinking, Leslie.
As I am not the BEAD program manager, I definitely
okay,
don't want to
okay,
say that.
okay. Well, we'll table that question then for now. I know there's a lot of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul happening in our state governments now that federal funding has started to tighten up. So thank you
I'd
so much.
also,
Sorry,
sorry,
go ahead,
if
JR.
I just can. So as I said, as you all know, DEA is currently on indefinite suspension. But we are still here to help serve and assist folks however we can. I take my title is Digital Inclusion Project Manager, but I am at my core a civil servant. My job is to help the public, and so if there's anything that we can do to support you all as digital opportunity focused practitioners, please don't ever hesitate to reach out if you all see a funding stream that you're going after that we can somehow support your efforts towards that. I am always ready, available, and willing. Just because this particular opportunity is gone doesn't mean that the need across Missouri isn't there, and anything we can do to get those funds here, we certainly will do, provided we are not disadvantaging anyone else. But that's all I've got. I've added that contact info to the chat. I will add that link right now, and then just hand it back to you all.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you squeezing it in. And have a great weekend, Merve. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to our Johnson County folks now. And Diane, you should be able to go ahead and share your screen and get us going.
Okay, thanks. I think Jay was gonna say a few quick words.
Okay,
I'll,
thank you, Diane.
try to
Appreciate that.
just
Well,
share
you're
screen while he's talking.
get everything loaded up. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jay Leipzig. I'm the Planning, Housing, and Community Development Director with Johnson County. I appreciate the chance to speak with you all about our recently adopted broadband and digital access plan for Johnson County. I wanted to introduce a couple of people. I'm going to keep my comments very brief. I wanted to introduce Sean Penley is our Deputy Director, who's also on this call today. Sean was a significant author on this document as well. And then Diane Wicklund, who's going to start us off. This is going to be a tag team approach this morning. Diane Wicklund, our senior planner that was the primary writer of this document and kind of going through the implementation process. And I also wanted to thank Casey Digital Drive too, and Aaron and Leslie for your work and guidance on this project too. We're pretty excited about it. And I think we've had a lot of very positive reactions from our board, county commissioners, although it's, with the current administration and the funding levels in terms of the uncertainty, but I think we were able to, I'm glad we have this document in place so that we're ready to go no matter what happens. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Diane if you're ready. Diane.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. So I'm Diane Wicklund with Johnson County Planning Department. And so I'm going to start the presentation, and then Jay will finish up the second part of the presentation. So this is the Johnson County Broadband and Digital Access Plan. So I'm just going to start out just talking about some of the background of why we decided as a county to do a broadband plan. So really the expansion of broadband access and infrastructure in Johnson County is a strategic priority and focus area of the Board of County Commissioners. They have kind of focus areas that they look at and work on, and I think they update maybe once every couple of years. And so broadband access has been on there for I think for a few years now. And actually one county commissioner, Shirley Allenbrand, was pretty strategic in kind of starting that conversation, and actually asked the county planning department to put together a meeting. I think that happened in 2023. And so really she was kind of helped start that conversation. And so we've done quite a bit of work over that last kind of year and a half. So in 2024, Johnson County staff collaborated with KC Digital Drive to create this Johnson County Broadband and Digital Access Plan. And so we worked with them. They wrote the plan, did the data analysis, and all of that good work. So couldn't have gotten here without them doing that part. So so the plan is a framework and strategic plan to expand and strengthen broadband services and digital access for residential and commercial needs of Johnson County. The focus of the plan is more on the unincorporated portion of Johnson County. So Johnson County has a pretty big land area, and there's of course several cities within Johnson County, but a large part of the county is also unincorporated. So that's kind of the focus. But through this process, we also communicated and worked with the different cities, and we'll continue to work with them on what their plans are for broadband, and to continue to collaborate with the cities as well. So kind of why is this broadband plan important? And of course, all of these are pretty familiar to everybody, but technology, especially in today's world, is just an integral part of our lives. Can't really do a lot today without technology. The internet has also become a pretty essential component of infrastructure in our cities, in our society, just like water, electricity, gas, communication towers for cell phones. And so it's a pretty essential component of infrastructure. Also, it allows people, and like we've heard today, some pretty amazing activities and programs that are going on, but it allows people to participate in digital life, to access employment opportunities, fill out job applications, those kinds of things. Also to access telehealth services, medical records, insurance information, those kinds of things. And then also just for access to libraries and that information, and other public services and resources at county and city government levels, but also like nonprofit organizations that we've heard from today. So one of the big components of the plan was just to kind of talk about the state of broadband access in Johnson County, and kind of what it looks like today. And so KC Digital Drive did a lot of mapping and graphing and data analysis to kind of help set the stage for that. And so one of the things that we discovered, one of the statistics, of course, is just that with many digital activities, you know, like remote work and remote education are extremely difficult, of course, to do without a desktop or laptop. While over 90% of Johnson County households have a desktop or laptop, 1 in 4 households with an income under $25,000 per year, and 1 in 5 households with an individual who speaks English less than very well have no desktop or laptop to use. And so I'll show some maps here, but so the mapping and analysis that they did help support this plan. And so I'll just go through a couple of maps here that are part of the plan. So this map is showing the BEAD eligible households in Johnson County. And you can kind of see here on the western part of the county, kind of north and south, but western part of the county. And actually some areas here in the southeast part of the county are showing they're either unserved or underserved areas in the county. And so this it was actually critical in kind of showing the need for why we wanted to develop the plan and the strategies associated with the document. This map is showing just broadband technology access in Johnson County currently, and showing that this area in the west, again, kind of this western part of the county, and some in this southeast part of the county, kind of the more yellow or kind of tannish color and red dots are really what we're looking at here. And they're showing that in these areas, it's really the access is either wireless broadband or non-broadband internet access. And so this is just kind of showing that there's also, you know, geographic inequalities in device access for residents in the county, with census tracts in the west part of the county and around the centers of the cities of Olathe, Shawnee, and Overland Park that are seeing consistently lower rates of device ownership. And so, and then here is another graph that was in the plan, and it's showing the percent of Johnson County households with no computers. And so some households that we discovered lack any computing devices at all. In particular, low-income households and households with individuals who have a disability. They're are significantly more likely not to have access to a device. And so this chart's just showing that. I think it's showing about an 8% rate there of households with no computer. If the household salary is about $25,000 a year or less. And so all of those maps and graph kind of helped support and lent an argument for doing the plan. And I think the Board of County Commissioners, that was effective to show that and to get the support to go ahead and move along with the plan. So so I think at this point, I'm going to stop my part of the presentation, and Jay's going to take over and finish the second part, kind of talking about the planning process that we went through for the plan. And so Jay, I'll let you take it over.
Okay, thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. And what I'm going to go through these next slides very quickly. This is kind of a very typical planning process in terms of developing, going through the communication process and meeting with stakeholders and key representatives in regard to developing the plan, and then ultimately, you know, getting it before our board and having it reviewed. The other point I was going to mention that would really became very apparent when during the pandemic, or the initial very early days of the pandemic, we discovered, you know, everyone was trying to switch and scramble to virtual meetings and learning Zoom and Teams or whatever. And, you know, we were forced to kind of integrate that into our public approval process. And we discovered in the areas in the western part of the county, or the very southeast part of the county, we had somewhat limited access for the internet. And we were not able to, many of our zoning board members were not able to conduct the hearings in terms of having access to Zoom and that type of thing. So that was kind of an indication that there were some areas in the county that are underserved. And, you know, when you think of Johnson County, you think of these, you know, very affluent county with very, you know, are mansions in the countryside, but it's not like that. We have some of that in the unincorporated area, which we tried to, this plan is primarily focused on that, treating broadband as a utility. but there's also the social equity component in some of our older areas of the city, like for example, Roland Park, or Shawnee, for example, that have really trying to focus on providing broadband access for those low-income households, and whatever we could do as a county and to try to facilitate that conversation and working with our cities. We have over 22 cities within the county that we're working with and trying to ensure that our plan is consistent with what they are doing. So just briefly going back to the slide, we evaluated best practices with similar communities. We conducted stakeholder interviews with libraries, schools, and cities in the county and nonprofit organizations. And they're again, Casey Digital Drive and Leslie and Aaron and their team are fantastic at doing this and helping to facilitate that conversation. And we found out that a lot of places, some folks were underserved that we thought were served, and or there was some discrepancies in some of the mapping that we were working with. And this also is integrated with our own geographic information system team with AIMS, which is our digital mapping program throughout the county. So we have some resources there that we could use, not only with what Casey Digital Drive has done, but also with our AIMS team and what they were able to develop too. So we had 3 community engagement meetings that were conducted. And Diane, next slide, please. I wanted to show you what the plan looks like. This is the cover page, and I actually have it here, and it's a visual aid. This is the document itself. It's about 37 pages, I believe, something like that. And go ahead and flip the next page too, Diane, if you would. This shows you the table of contents, so you can see what's in it. This plan will be posted on our planning department webpage, and so and we'll talk more about kind of the next steps in terms of implementation. But wanted to show this to you, the table of contents, because it gives you an idea of what's in the plan. Provides some of the maps that Diane had just previously walked through, kind of an overview of broadband service in Johnson County. And then there's a series of recommendations of short-term, midterm, and long-term. And then, of course, a glossary and an appendix, which includes a model resolution for the Kansas Broadband Ready Communities Program. We really, overall, from my perspective, was how to create broadband and treat it as a utility, almost as a public utility. From a planning perspective, you have access to water and electricity, and broadband is also something that should be included in that in terms of the overall marketability of subdivisions for people coming into the county. And so I think that's kind of an important perspective for Johnson County to have, but that may be somewhat different than what Roland Park or Shawnee will have. But that's kind of a guiding principle for us as we develop this document. Next slide, please, Diane. So the highlights, I just mentioned, we have short-term action items, midterm goals, and then the long-term vision. These are more aspirational goals for the county and for the plan. We didn't want to establish a particular time frame to them, because some of these things dependent upon not only the level of funding that's available, but also the political will. And in terms of, we wanted to create something that's going to last and that will still be relevant, whether it's 1 year from now as opposed to 5 years from now, and to be able to have that relevancy built into the document. And I think by having these long-term aspirational goals does that for us. They're more, there's a lot of different factors that have to come together to complete them, but we tried to be realistic in that approach, and also something that we believe is palatable. Next slide, please, Diane. So the short-term action steps, we have engaged the internet service providers. They look to expand broadband access in Johnson County, publish a webpage. This is one of the first components of a broadband ready community is to get that website established, almost like a clearinghouse for broadband information for developers who are interested in broadband within the county. and also including a key point of contact. You know, we've done some of these inquiries before from ISPs that they're somewhat fragmented because we're not really sure where to send them in the county. Do they start at the county manager's office? Do they start in the planning department, or do they start with our Department of Technology and Innovation? So we wanted to have a very clear procedure of if you're interested in broadband, and if you're an ISP looking at providing access or that service to the county, how do you start? Who do you talk with, or how do you begin that process? So we tried to lay out those components in this document. The midterm goals, Johnson County would host 2 device donation drives per year to allow residents to drop off old devices for recycling or refurbishing. There again, this is more of a social equity idea that's not really associated with the unincorporated area per se. This is something that the county does throughout our population, which is right at about 620,000 people at this point. And also consider collaborating with other county governments and cities in Johnson County for a shared regional investment to improve broadband infrastructure. That's one of those things that is somewhat, you know, not only the political will, but the financial resources have to come together to be able to do that. But I think it's something, even, you know, ensuring that our Johnson County broadband plan is consistent with what, you know, the broadband plan for the city of Overland Park, or the city of Roland Park, or Shawnee, and ensuring that there's that consistency, not only for development and that side of it, but also in terms of social equity and working with the school districts as well. It's another key component that we need to keep in mind. Next slide, please, Diane. The next with the long-term vision, these are the aspirational goals. You know, every Johnson County residents and business will have access to a fiber broadband network. And residents' commercial broadband access will be affordable compared to regional and national benchmarks. And so, you know, it offering opportunities so that everyone has access to it, and kind of leveling that playing field for access for everyone. The other piece to note that's kind of an aside to this is the Johnson County Planning Department is also in the process of updating our subdivision regulations for the county, which is a significant endeavor. It's about a 2-year project or 18-month project. And, you know, we would like to have development proposal written into our subdivision regulations procedures for broadband development. And they're, again, treating it like a utility and having provisions and for providing broadband access for subdivision developers and so making sure that is part of one of the components they're thinking of, you know, when they're thinking about access to water or access to other utilities, whether it's wastewater or actual water, that they also think about broadband and ensuring that broadband is providing that access as they go through that process. Implementation and next steps, which is on the next slide, Diane, if you would, please. So it'll serve as a working document. This is something that you know, it's laying the groundwork for not only establishing a procedure so that we can have a clear point of contact for broadband and laying out, you know, what that procedure would look like with various steps, but also being able to use it as a base for other endeavors, and having, you know, in place for additional funding that may become available in the future, and identifying the various parties and having, I think having this updated webpage with all of that information in one place will be a significant step and make things much easier for the public as well as potential developers or applicants coming in. And then so staff, we're going to begin working right away on the short-term action steps, and hopefully we'll get those underway and finished in 2025. And then we're looking at the medium action steps and getting completed in 2026. So we just started this plan was adopted. I can't remember if I mentioned that plan was adopted or approved in March of this year. So it's fairly recently, right in front of the some of the political turmoil that is going on, but I think having this document in place will behoove us long term. So going back to the last step, then, Diane, the short-term action steps are they publish the webpage, the county's website, begin the certification process for the broadband ready communities, kind of working, going through that step, and then exploring the development strategy for understanding and responding to resident concerns about broadband quality and digital access. There's a lot of not only is there's a lot of information on broadband, but there's a lot of misinformation on broadband. And I think whatever we can do as a county and a planning department to kind of clarify some of those issues and provide clear direction on that will behoove everyone. So we're certainly going to focus on that and trying to just be an educational resource to get more information out there about broadband and broadband development. And that's my little 15-minute speech or 10 minutes, Leslie. So I'll turn it over to you if there are questions for us too. Like I said, Sean Penley is available for all the tough questions, and then Diane and myself will take the easy ones. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you both for presenting, and also for Sean for being here. Any questions from anyone?
Leslie, I'd just like to add on, thanks to Jay and Diane for putting together the presentation, and I think they covered it very well. We really appreciated also working with Casey Digital Drive. You're really instrumental on providing a lot of the background data and information in this study and in the report. It was very helpful. I think the board really appreciated it. Like Diane and Jay said, this is a priority of the board and really is something helpful, and it's been requested a lot. We've had a lot of requests for improved data and digital access, especially in the unincorporated areas. And I think this will be really helpful going forward. And it was also helpful too, I will say, working with other departments. Although sometimes it's hard to get people together for meetings, it was really helpful to coordinate with other departments, with our IT department and with AIMS, as Jay had mentioned. And then really communications, getting information out. It was really helpful having you all there too at the meeting for our engagement meetings, but just getting that input from the people who really are having problems with access. That was helpful to have those community engagement meetings. So really helpful, and we just appreciate you being a part of this process as well.
Yeah, thanks so much. We really enjoyed learning more about Johnson County, and I think everyone sort of assumes that the wealthiest county in the state of Kansas, that you're not going to have nobody has any issues, right? Nobody has any problems affording internet. Nobody has any problems with access. You're all good. But the reality is that people do have trouble affording it, and there are parts of the county that don't have good access. So definitely a learning opportunity, I think, for us. And I think too that it's just important to present that reality so that we can all work together to solve those problems. Okay. Any questions? All right. Well, thanks again for being here, you all. One quick housekeeping note. We want to make sure that we have the ability to follow up with any of our attendees today. So could we find out who is the iPhone person who's attending today? You want to come off mute and introduce yourself? All right, you can drop it in the chat if it's not convenient to maybe driving. I know that happens to me. So you can follow up with us later. All right, so we have about 10 minutes for community announcements. Just want to give a quick minute for Leah to talk about the Learning Circle if you want to.
One second, we're just fixing audio.
Hi,
Hi. Yeah, good almost afternoon, everyone. Great to see a lot of familiar faces. Is it echoing?
Can Gus mute and do something else?
Yeah, Gus.
Yeah.
Is this better?
No.
Is that working now?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Good to see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces. I'm Leah, I'm the program coordinator at KC Digital Drive. And there's some here on the call that already know this, but for all of our digital skills instructors, we wanted to create a space for them to collaborate, talk about curriculum, and just do some networking. And so Gabrielle on the call is involved in the Learning Circle. And so if anyone else would be interested in joining, I can drop my email in the chat. We typically meet on the first Tuesday of every month from 3 to 4. And depending on what we're talking about, it's typically available in a hybrid format. So any digital skills instructors are welcome to join.
Thanks. And where is the next one? You're looking for a host, right? For the next one?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So if anybody's interested and if you come to the Learning Circle or want to get involved with the Learning Circle and are interested in hosting the group, just reach out to Leah. All right. Other announcements? Comments? Thoughts? For the good of the order? Nothing? Everybody's ready to get out of here, go to lunch? All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here today, and we will see you hopefully at the next one, which is, I guess I could throw that up. And let's see. June 6th. So plan to be there for that next meeting, and everyone have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.